Hey there guys, welcome to a battle report at the Doom's Dark Side Hobby House. And as you can see, I'm playing 40k. I've acquired a Tyranid army via one of the Facebook groups, thanks to Lee on there.
An amazing deal.
Yeah, so this is my Tyranid army that I'll be using. I haven't painted any of this stuff, so I will be repainting it. And I am playing against Michael. Hey Michael.
Hi there.
From Team Clueless 40k. I'll put a link to Michael's YouTube channel. He specializes in 40k battle reports, so you can go check that out. And I'm playing against his demon army. We'll come back to the army list in a minute. Just gonna give you a little scan of the board, and then I'll give you a little tell about the mission.
Yeah, pretty nice looking board.
I'm using the war bases, not war bases. This board on that we're using is from, oh man, I've forgotten the name.
I've forgotten as well. Where's the
It's
box?
down at the bottom. We'll come back to that in a minute.
Yeah, we'll remind you later.
And a lot of mixed scenery. I am still working on this. I really should work on the scenery a bit more, but I've been focusing a lot more on miniatures these days. So, Michael, tell us a bit about the mission.
So we are playing a mission today called Gargantuan Clash, mainly because Jason's new Tyranid army came with a barbed hydrogel. So we thought, well, we better use that, and I've got this giant beast of a thing, a massive great corn bloodthirster from
dusty
Forge
one.
World, Angraf Thwatsit. Yeah, it's quite dusty. He lives on my top shelf. So mission we're playing today with 2,500 points, mainly because the giant bloodthirster costs 900 points or there nearabouts.
And Hyrogel's about 600.
Yeah, so I've written a mission especially for this that involves them. You'll see on the board there are 5 special scanning devices. There, kind of like one in the centre of the board and then one in the centre of each other quadrant, or there nearabouts. We've put them on the scenery and such. They are objectives which you can score at the end of each of your turns, so kind of like a maelstrom objective. So you can always gain those victory points as you go along. There are various other ways to gain victory points, as usual. You can gain a victory point if in any turn you deal at least 1 wound to the enemy gargantuan creature. So if Jason wounds Angraf here in any of the turns of the game, that's player turns, he gains a victory point. So Angraf has 8 wounds, so Jason can gain 8 victory points out of that. Also,
I wouldn't hold my breath on that.
Possibly not, he is pretty tough. At the end of any player's turn, if their giant creature is still alive, they gain a victory point. So if Angraf lives all turns in a 5-turn game, I gain 5 victory points from that as well. If either Angraf or the barbed hydrogel die, we leave their models on the table as their corpses, and when the game finishes, the side that controls either of those corpses, or whichever, gains 3 victory points per corpse they control. It's representing them looting its corpse for various little bits of
Scientist
stuff,
knowledge.
yeah, or cut their heads off as trophies and things like Khorne likes to do. So various ways of gaining victory points, and there's also the 3 standard secondary objectives.
Do you think that was a jab at him saying he's going to kill my one?
Yeah, I'm going to kill yours. The only other special rule is, at the end of any of a player's movement turns, if he controls one of these scanning devices, he may choose 1 unit in his army, and that unit gets to re-roll all to hit rolls, all to wound rolls, and can always wound on a 6 versus the enemy gargantuan creature. It's basically to make it so it's easier for our shitty small units like Jason's Termagants, for instance, to be able to actually engage the giant monsters. Okay, so pretty simple mission, obviously.
Yeah.
You got all that, Jace?
Yeah, I think so. Right. Not only do I have to remember that, but I have to remember all the rules for the Tyranids.
Yeah. What happened when I arrived today, Jace? You passed me a bit of paper and says, make us an army.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, I'll tell you the army list that Michael so kindly put together for me. This is the Swarm Lord with 3 Tyrant Guard, and he's got some stuff with him. This is a Horospex, and obviously you've seen my Scythe Hydrogel. I got the Cthulhu monster. I don't know, Toxicrene, that's what it's called.
Nice,
Toxicrene.
good memory.
And we got a Morlock? No, Trigon.
Prime,
Trigon
because you're
Prime.
lacking a bit in Synapse models.
Oh, that's right. And then I've got the Duck Effects. Right, I'll come back to that Warriors in a minute. We got the Brood Lord with some Brood Gene Stealers.
Yep, 11 of them.
We got Gargoyles and Termagants. Right, go back here. That one in the middle with the Lash Whip is
Tyranid Prime.
Tyrant Prime, and then 4 Tyranid Warriors.
They've got a Venom Cannon and some Death Spitters.
Oh yes, and one last thing, I have a Harpy. And that is 2,500 points of very wicked looking Tyranids. Right, Mike, go for yours.
Okie dokie. So, Obviously, I have Angrath, who is most of my army, and then I decided to go for a mainly Khorne theme with a bit of Tzeentch splashed in because, well, I don't own that many Khorne models. So down here, troop choice, we've got 20 bloodletters, they've got one of the upgrade characters in there, and they've got a banner of blood. I have 10 fleshhounds for charging at Jason and eating him. My warlord is a Herald of Khorne. He's rolled up the Feel No Pain gift, and he's got an axe that can do instant death, the Axe of Khorne. Back here we have a unit of 5 Blood Crushers. They've got the upgrade character in there who has +1 wound and it will not die from the gifts table. And then we have the least favourite model in the entire 40k in my opinion, the horrible blood cannon thing of Khorne. I have one, it's Khorne 8, I've only ever used it once I think, so I thought I'd better crack it out.
Are we saying if I kill that we can boot it across the room?
No, it will shatter. I might be able to sell it on eBay one day. Then we go to the Tzeentch side of the force. I have a Herald of Tzeentch on disc. He's a level 3 Psyker. He's got Possession, Summoning, and Sacrifice. Pretty sweet. I've taken this thing, which Wolves are in White Dwarf, and they've altered the codex via an errata. He is an Exalted Flamer of Tzeentch. He's not very good, but he's only 50 points. He's got 2 really awesome weapons, but they're both heavy, so he can't move and fire them, and they've both got appalling range. So he's not actually very good, but I thought I'd give him a run out.
He looks freaking cool.
He looks cool, basically. I'm going to paint him next. I got a model out and was like, yeah, that looks awesome. I'm going to enjoy painting that.
I love that model.
I have 3 normal Flamers of Tzeentch. I have 11 Pink Horrors of Tzeentch. They've got an upgrade character in there because I like the purple model. We have 6 Screamers of Tzeentch to go around with the Herald. The Herald had an Exalted Gift as well. I didn't take the Evil Book though because I thought that's a bit cheesy, as Jason's only played his army once before. So I have taken the Portaglyph with him. At the back there we have a Soul Grinder who is marked for Tzeentch also. And that is my 2,500 points of Angrath's Legion.
Okay, so this is after deployment. I'll start from the left here. I've got a Termagant Brood already holding one of the objectives. And then I've got the Swarm Lord with his Tyrant Guard. And over here I've got the Toxicrene and the Horospecs with the Duck Effects. My Bob. They got the Gargoyles holding this objective here. And then I've got...
I think it's a Scythe Tyrajul.
It's Bob, man.
No, it's like the Barb one's one with big gun arms. He's also got scythes on his arms.
Alright, so it's Steve then.
Steve, yeah.
And then, don't forget, this one is a Tyrant Prime or something. What's it called? Yeah.
Tyrant
And
Prime.
then Warriors, and then I got the Harpy in hover mode over here. And I have the Trigon in Deep Strike mode, which is just sitting over there for now. And that is, oh, of course, I've got the Broodlord and Genestealers infiltrating over there. And then I'll just scan over here.
Yeah, so we've got the Screamers over there with the Herald of Tzeentch. We've got the Soul Grinder with the Flamers hiding behind it. Down here we've got a big plaque of blood letters, and we've got the Khorne Hounds led by Angrath in the front. He's front and centre. He's just going to walk forward and kill everything in Jason's army is my plan. Pink Horrors are here with the attached, what's it called? Exalted Flamer of Tzeentch. Then we have the Blood Crushers led by the Herald of Khorne. And we have the Khorne Cannon, evil, horrible looking shit model hiding in the corner where I hope people forget about it.
Can't even see it.
Now I'm going to seize the initiative here, aren't I, Jason?
I
Which
think...
of these 2 dice was it you were rolling earlier, rolling 6 every time? Is it this one?
Yeah, let's go with that
Yeah,
one.
it was that one. It's a 4. Jason gets to go first.
Alright, so we'll come back after my turn 1.
Okay, Demons turn 1.
Just a point, I chose not to go
Yes,
first.
Jason chose actually not to go first as he had set up first, so he let me go first so I can run towards him. So I moved forward over here, I moved forward my Screamers. The Herald that was in there decided, well, screw it. He had the power where he gets to summon a greater demon in place of himself, so he sacrificed himself, turned himself into a greater demon. He tried summoning a lesser herald as well before he did so, but I thought getting the Lord of Change on the table seemed a wise move at that point. Soul Grinder moved up here, and along the Flamers holding this objective. He fired over there and actually managed to put 2 wounds on the Horospecs, didn't he?
Yep.
That was quite nice. The rest of these stuff just all moved forward, ran forward a bit, spread out. See the Blood Crushers are over there. The Horrors are moved slightly further forwards. The Skull Cannon fired over there, wiped out 8 of the Termagants that were there. So that was pretty good. But the main mover, obviously, was Angrath. Jason had infiltrated his Genestealers right in front of Angrath. And Angrath has a special rule where if he can charge, he has to charge. And I'm not going to play against that. So he basically stomped forwards, turned round, ran at the Genestealers, failed my 5-inch charge, but then remember, he's a jump monstrous creature, so he re-rolled that and got in there. I rolled pretty poor to start with, and only killed 4 Genestealers, but then I went stomp happy and wiped out the other 12 with stomps. But
Including
you
the
can
Brood Lord.
see, including the Broodlord with a nice stomp, Jason was a bit like, hold on, you just get to remove me if you roll a 6. But yes, and you can see, unfortunately, on his base, he has a little glass bead, meaning the Genestealer's got a retaliatory strike in and dealt Angrath a wound. They dared put their claws upon the Master of Bloodshed. It seemed a little unfair to me, but it happened. That gave Jason a victory point during my turn, which I'm not in favour of. I gained 3 victory points, 1 for controlling here, 1 for controlling there.
Is there secondary objectives? Because you got first blood then as well.
Oh, I got first blood. Well done, Jason. And 1 for Angrath still being alive. So I'm on 4 VPs. Jason is on 1. Let's see how he can respond. I have positioned myself next to all of his monsters, basically in a come and have a go if you think you're hard enough type of move. Might backfire.
Right. What you're looking at is a slight disappointment from me. I
That's 888 points.
I didn't charge it with the equivalent amount.
Actually.
I charged. Well, actually, I first moved up on it. Moved everything around. I was trying to make an almighty charge on him, and these guys just moved up here, and they just stayed put because I wanted to hold objectives so I could give the Carnifex and my Steve the reroll misses and
Targeting relay things.
Thanks for the objectives. So not a lot going on. I cast Warp Blast on those dogs, put a wound on one of them, and in the shooting phase I shot just pretty much at Angron, doing no real damage to him, and then I did a hull point on that.
Yep.
Combat was where it went, and that's what was the most interesting part. Angron went first, and he put 2 wounds on Steve.
Yeah, I didn't roll particularly well. I
A couple of ones there.
4 ones to hit out of my 7 attacks, so that wasn't very good.
And in my return, Steve put 3 wounds on Angron.
Yeah.
So he's done. He's taken 4 wounds now.
He's only got 3 wounds left. He's over half. I'm not impressed at the minute. My invulnerable saves have been letting me down.
Unfortunately, the other 2 did nothing. This one missed all his attacks, and that one only got 2 hits through, and he saved both of these on a 2+.
Yep. Now on a 3+, it was the Hammer of Wrath attacks.
Oh yes, that's right. Yeah. So that's the end of my turn 1. Net result is
5 all.
Yeah, I got 2 points for holding 2 objectives, 1 point for my monster still being alive, and 1 point for hurting Angron. So that's it. My turn 1 done. Come on, Mike. He's gonna die this turn.
Okay, it is Demon turn 2. This turn I thought, let's get loads of charges in. So starting this side of the board. I thought that. The Lord of Change flew over here. He used the multiple bolts of Tzeentch power to shoot in the back of the Harpy, because it's really good versus him. I threw 5 dice at a level 2 version, got 2 successes. Jason got 2 denies though and stopped it. So my Soul Grinder here backed up a little bit, stupidly, and fired his Harvester cannon up, managed to score a wound on it. At the end of the phase, Jason failed his grounding check, came crashing to the ground, suffered another wound, and then I tried to charge in. I had an 8-inch charge. Failed.
Even with the reroll.
Even with a fleet from the Soul Grinder, so didn't get in. These guys over here have jetted over the Tyranid warriors and managed to take one out with their slashing attacks and dealt a wound to another. The Lord of Change, with his other psychic power, managed to lose himself a wound and has summoned another Herald of Tzeentch on disc, who has jetted over there. Isn't actually part of the unit as yet, though. Jason, can you throw a token on the Lord of Change? We forgot to stick one on him for suffering a wound. We'll come back to the middle of the board in a sec. So over here, these guys spread out a little. He moved up to there, moving and firing his D3 shot las cannon at the Swarm Lord and his unit. Didn't do any hits though, unfortunately. Over here, these guys moved up to position here. They were, I think, an 8-inch charge away. They got fleet, so I thought I'll give it a go. The Termagants scored 2 wounds on me with Overwatch. One on my Herald, one on another guy. It wasn't favourite. Then these guys had moved up. They were an 8 inches away from charging the Swarm Lord. I basically wanted to tie the Swarm Lord up, but he's pretty dangerous against Angrath. I popped my Banner of Blood, meaning I got into assault on anything but a 1. Up came the 1. The Fleshhounds were much more successful though. They sprinted forward and did a mass charge on the Carnifex, dealing 3 wounds to it in total. Before it could strike back, Angrath just lashed out with a couple of attacks at it, beheading the poor beast, and then he turned his attention to Jason's giant scythed Hyrule.
Steve!
We thought it had 7 wounds. I dealt it 5 wounds and it had already taken 2, so Jason thought, oh, I need to make 1 save here to get out. 1 feel no pain. Jason made his feel no pain, then we checked his rules page, and he's actually only got 6 wounds, so he has fallen over and is now an objective which you can score at the end of the game to get 3 victory points. Angrath bathes in his spouting blood and yells to the heavens, but he might be facing a Swarm Lord next turn, and probably this instant death poison thing, which I'm quite scared of.
He also killed the convicts.
Oh yeah, I beheaded the. That was small change to Angrath. He probably just killed him with his wingtip as he turned around. So the game is mainly focused on there. I forgot about my skull cannon because, well, it's a horrible model. Let's see what Jason can respond with.
I think this was my turn too. So
It was. This game's gonna be really short.
on that turn, a couple of things happened. I moved the Swarm Lord and his guys up into this little area here. I moved Cthulhu down there, and I turned the Tyranid warriors around, and I moved the Harpy across down to there. My Trigon didn't come up, and that was it for movement. Psychic phase was dispelled. Shooting phase, I put a wound on one of the Juggernaut guys, and I think I put a wound.
Pistols versus my Juggernauts,
Yeah.
kicking their ass.
And I put a wound on this dude. In the combat phase, it went much better. The warriors and the prime charged the shredder dudes. What are they called? Screamers.
Screamers of Tzich.
Screamers, and they got obliterated in combat. And the Swarm Lord and his mates charged the dudes over there. And
20 blood letters.
Yep.
Went through all of them. I rolled a double 6, and they all just evaporated after combat.
Cthulhu charged the dogs and killed 2 in combat, and they put 2 wounds on him as well, which is quite surprising to me. And then, of course, Agrath destroyed the horror specs.
Yep.
And is now turned to face the arch enemy.
I think you overestimate your chances, giving yourself a lofty title of arch enemy.
Our scores are 8 to.
You scored 3. You've got 1 under here because when you consolidate, this guy can move close enough to score this objective.
Alright, so I got
And
3
you've still
objectives.
got 1 over there and 1 over there.
And I didn't do a wound to Agrath, and my monster isn't alive.
And this flying thing failed to hurt the Soul Grinder.
Oh yes, I vector striked him and I tried to shoot him, but he passed his invulnerable. So not too bad. I mean, I did wipe out 2 units, put a couple of wounds here and there, but I am losing bigger wounded.
Yes,
creatures.
I have a giant creature left. You do not.
Well, let's see how this goes.
Tyranid, turn Tyranid. I'm a demon, damn it. Get your brain in gear, Mike. Demon turn 3. So this turn, the Lord of Change swooped after the Harpy over here. This thing has actually got bigger toughness and stuff than this one. Look at the disparity in model ages. They're both flying monsters. He fired his psychic power. I got 3d6 shots onto this, but unfortunately I did really badly on my hitting into wounding, and only got 2 wounds on it, and it made its grounding check, so it's still in the air, having suffered 4 wounds. This guy fired over at the Tyranid warriors, hoping to instant death a few, but scattered off a bit and only managed to deal a wound to the prime. This guy up here fired his psychic power down. He's the guy I summoned. This isn't actually on the table yet, but Jason getting him ready to come in. And fired down there, and I managed to take out the guy with the venom cannon, but didn't do any more wounds. My flamers leapt over from hiding behind here. Jason had forgotten about them. I'd cunningly put it behind this building, and knowing
hiding behind the doors.
knowing Jason would not move around the table at any point. He had no clue they were there. He's like, "What are they?" When I jumped out. They jumped out, flamered 8 of the gargoyles off, and then charged the remaining 2. But being
Put a wound on them in Overwatch.
being wusses of Tzich in close combat, I failed to failed to kill them both. Managed to kill 1. Over here, the dogs are losing their protracted combat versus the big thing. What's this thing called? Toxicrene. It's taken a couple of wounds, but the dogs are now down to just 3 dogs. Angrath plus the rest of his dudes all charged into the Swarm Lord and his unit this turn. The Swarm Lord attacked Angrath but failed to get any wounds, luckily, because he's got instant death swords, which deal D3 wounds to me instead of instant deathing me. Angrath then hit back. I got in loads of wounds, but Jason decided to take them all on the Swarm Lord so he could use his invulnerable save from his sabres. I got an instant death wound on him, but he saved that. But he still took, I think, 4 wounds total, including from a stomp.
I'm annoyed with myself because I had a plan to attack the cavalry instead.
Yeah, he was going to try and instant death the cavalry and then win via combat resolution and hopefully pile some wounds on Angrath.
I got
that
carried
way.
away and attacked Agrath instead.
Yep. So the dogs then took vengeance and they swept forwards and butchered 2 of his Tyrant Guard. And then he didn't do any wounds back with the Tyrant Guard, I don't think.
Saved the one.
Herald, my warlord, had broken off and charged into the gaunts over there to try and take them off the objective before Jason's turn. Failed to do that, only killed 4 of them, and they're still in synapse range of the Swarm Lord with his extended synapse range from his warlord trait. So he has gotten there. And again, I forgot to roll on the Warpstorm table. Every turn I've forgotten. That's why you haven't heard about it on the video.
You're cheating.
Yeah, well, it's good for me if I roll, so...
I'm cheating.
It's because I've forgotten my codex and we're using a computerized copy and it's not very easy to reference. Okay, let's see if Jason can somehow kill Angrath. I think he's got 4 wounds, so he might have to do it.
So, what happened this turn? I'm not purposely showing you the middle at the moment because I'll come back to that. Oh, I'm showing you the scores, so that didn't work.
I don't know what's happened, Jason.
All right, so
They're just guessing.
movement-wise, my Trigon Prime came up.
These are all dead, by the way, so
Yeah.
that's kind of showing what happened.
He came up, and the Harpy moved across there. Vector struck one of the horrors dead, and then failed to wound the cannon behind the thing over there. What other movement did I have? The warriors over here with the Prime. What do you call him? Just a
He's a
Tyranid
Tyranid Prime.
His name doesn't make sense. Came over here and helped this Harpy. No,
Yes,
the
the
gargoyle.
flamers.
Yeah, beat up the flamers over there. And then they consolidated onto Steve.
Is this really only turn 3?
Yeah, this is my turn.
Blimey.
Shooting wise, I killed about 5 or 6 of the horrors with the Trigon, and then that was it. Charges wise, obviously I told you I killed the flamers over there. Cthulhu on 5 attacks rolled 3 2s and 2 1s, so it didn't hurt the dogs.
I didn't hurt you back, though.
But the main event, this is what I should have done last turn, and I was gutted I never did. The Swarm Lord obliterated those freaking.
He did 5 instant death
Yep.
wounds. I failed 4 saves, so that put... And one of them had already taken 2 wounds, so that put 10 on the combat resolution.
And luckily for me, Agrath only caused 2 wounds on Swarm Lord, which I saved both of
Your
them.
swords in the way.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, stay back!
And then a stupid stomp. We rolled a 6 on the stomp to take me out.
Swarm Lord removed.
Which is so funny because it's like they're my general. That's a point for you, isn't it?
Oh yeah, Warlord points.
Warlord point.
Nicely done.
So that killed. But I got one little crab man left who consolidated over to this to get.
Yeah, because Angrath took all the instability wounds. We had to check the rulebook because I was unsure if he had instability, and he did. And I rolled a 10 on his leadership check, and then he had to make 10 saves against this Feel No Pain because you're not allowed your invulnerable save or your armor save versus it. So he bought it. Angrath down.
Look at him. So pitiful.
Oh, it is a sad sight for a follower of Khorne.
And just to top it off, that Herald over there still couldn't beat up the
Yes, you
Termagants.
gained a victory point for still controlling that because you got objective secured on the Termagant.
So at the end of that turn, I've got 12 points and you've got 13.
Yeah, pretty close.
Pretty close.
And I'm not sure who's winning on the table at the minute either, because you've still got all your tiny warriors over there. You've still got your monstrous creature left in the centre and the Trigon Prime.
Yep.
I've got the Soul Grinder and the Lord of Change there are my 2 most powerful pieces. He's a bit shit. And I've still got the Herald over there who's really good in combat. But other than that, it's, I think it's still pretty even.
So this is going to be a pit. Well, you know what I mean.
A good finale.
Yeah. Go on, let's do this.
Demons turn 4. So I need to really get back in this after the shock of losing the mighty Lord Angrath there. So over here, the Lord of Change swooped over, landed here, and blasted the Harpy out of the sky with his Tzitch firepower. He then attempted to sacrifice some more of his own personal energy to summon another Tzitch horror to do his bidding. I managed to pass Psychic with 1 success. We only got 1 in the Psychic phase this turn, so Jason picked up his dice, threw it, and a 6 came up. Denied! Over here, the dogs finally succumbed to the Toxicrene's multiple attacks, but luckily my Herald of Khorne finally managed to go through the remaining little Termagants, so he is free to come over and deal death to that big thing. He also was close enough to score the objective at the end of the turn. The Soul Grinder here decided he needed to get into the nitty-gritty of melee, walked forward to the edge of this building, can just spy through a window one of those Tyranids, and attempted a charge. It was 8 inches and through terrain, so I needed a 10 with my fleeting reroll. Failed to get there, which was annoying. I really want to dice them up with my giant hand claws. And other than that, I think that's turn done. This guy swooped over here to score this objective, so I scored this objective, and that objective this turn. So 3 more points for me. It is now 16 plays 12.
Okay, so this was my turn 4. Not a lot happened because there's not a lot left.
We have butchered each other.
Yeah, my warriors moved up here. My Tyrant Guard is underneath there, so you can claim that objective. The Prime...
I like how he's taken the whip from Angrath
Yes.
with him as a
Just
as
a little trophy, yeah. I killed him, that's what I'm telling everyone back home. Prime moved forward over there, and Cthulhu moved from there across to there. Yes, he's not there anymore. I'll come back to that. Shooting wise, I fired a couple of shots on the Herald. Nothing happened there. The Prime killed all the harpies and put a wound. No harpies, horrors. Put a wound on the
He's an
Glasgow one,
exalted flamer.
but then failed his charge in my turn. Otherwise, charges wise, obviously Cthulhu charged in here, and the Herald went first and got 3 hits and only 1 wound, which was obviously just 6 instant
And he has
deathing.
an axe of corn.
Instant deathing me, so Cthulhu
Skulls
died.
for the skull throne.
So that's it. End of my turn. I scored 3 more points, so we're on 15 apiece, I think.
15 plays 16, I think.
16, yeah. So
Touch and go.
1 point in it, and it's your turn 5.
My turn 5. This might be my last. Bollocks! This might be my last turn. You need to cut that swearing out. So it is Demon's turn 5. So what happened this turn? The Soul Grinder and the Herald of Khorne there decided to do a pincer move on the Tyranid warriors. Soul Grinder just managed his charge through the terrain that is the dead Hyrule there. Managed to get into combat. He locked the Tyranid Prime, who couldn't hurt him, so flailed ineffectually. And then I snipped him in half with a giant claw and snipped one of his Tyranid warrior buddies in half as well. The Herald there managed to deal 1 wound, not really acquitting himself particularly well against the Tzich monster. And because Jason's got a silent creature left, he is still fearless, so he's locked in combat. The Soul Grinder, when he consolidated in, couldn't quite get enough distance in to still be in combat, so he is now free of the combat. Over here, the Skull Cannon hanged back and scoring the objective there. Over here, the summoned Tzich Lord of Change landed, let off a level 3 psychic attack on the Tyranid Trigon Prime. I'm getting confused with the names as well now. Managed to score 3 wounds on him, and the Exalted Flamer also scored a wound on him as well. So that was pretty useful. Yep, and I gained 2 points at the end of the turn. 1 from controlling down here, 1 from controlling over there. This one is contested, unfortunately, because the Trigon Prime is just close enough. So it could be the last turn of the game now for Jason. Let's find out.
Okay, so that was my turn 5, and it was a disastrous turn. Really, really crap. I tried to move my Tyrant Guard out from his little center position out here. So I was thinking I'm going to charge this Herald because he's the Warlord. Between the two of them, he's only got 1 wound left. Between the two of them, they could kill him, get me the wall, slay the Warlord point, and then consolidate onto there because he's a troop choice, giving me 3 more victory points. As you can see, that didn't work out as I rolled double 1 for my charge.
And you're only a couple of millimeters out as well,
Yeah,
aren't you?
a couple of millimeters. And to add insult to injury, my Tyrant Warrior didn't die, but couldn't also hurt the bloody... Even though I needed like 4s or 5s to wound it, I couldn't hurt it. So that was a bit of a shit luck right there. To add that to that, my Trigon shot the big bird thing.
The
small
Lord of
bird.
Change.
Yeah, Lord
Yeah,
of
it's
Change.
only tiny.
I caused enough wounds to
Yes.
kill it, but because of the bloody 1 rule,
The reroll saves of a 1 with Tzich.
he's alive on 1 wound. I then charged him, and somehow Mike hit 5 times, wounded 5 times.
I went. He's obviously a member of the Khorne's army because
Yeah.
he went batshit insane and just tore him in half.
And destroyed me. So
Yep.
that little budgie destroyed that massive Trigon.
Yep.
So that basically, that's that. My hopes of winning has just gone into dust with those 2 really bad rolls.
So we see if the game continues. You score 1 victory point because you've got that damn gargoyle.
Gargoyle of some...
What's he up to? Yes, he was on 15. So
Yeah. So it's 18 to 16, is that right?
yes, pretty close. And let's roll. So the game ends on a 1 or a 2. The game continues for another turn.
Although I think we can probably call it.
I think we probably can.
because
now.
I've got
that
one
turn
model
you
left.
could have won that turn.
Yeah.
Good game, mate. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much. That was good. That was
I
a
was.
lot closer than I thought it was going
I
to be.
can't
at
believe
one
both
point.
of them are dead.
Yeah. Just carcasses everywhere.
Yep. It was really good fun, though. It was an excellent game. Because I stressed into the lead when Angraf piled in and massacred and everything, but then when you did that cool move of instant deathing all the
cavalry,
juggernauts, and then he just died to instability. Such an ignominious end for him.
I was really annoyed as well. I didn't do it the turn before.
Yeah,
it's like,
you
God,
said
I got
about
carried
it,
away.
and then you were overcome and went, Isaac Angraf!
No, it was good. A couple of sort of sways and flows that just changed the game a lot there. I mean, obviously that last turn, but even before that, there was a couple of things from both sides.
Yeah, my instant death over there was quite pivotal.
But on the same side, I can't believe it took so long to kill those
Me neither.
gaunts. I mean,
Well, it's mainly because you were in range of the Swarmlord's synapse, because he's got such a massive synapse. They were just fearless, and I just couldn't hit enough of them to kill them.
and then your lucky stomp on that Swarm Lord as well.
Well,
if you think
your
of-
lucky and vulnerable saves, I like to point out. He took like 5 hits from Angraf and was like, no, I parry you with my swords.
Oh, my monstrous creatures! There should be like this massive mound of meat right here.
Surrounding where he stood.
No, that was good. It was a good laugh.
Yeah, it was really good.
All the bodies that must be.
Look at my death pile in this corner of the table. It's absurd. Just piled up everywhere.
I got to point out. I mean, this is only my second game with Tyranids.
Yeah.
So I'm just coming to terms with what does what.
Yes, like we'd both forgotten the +1 reserve roll for
The Swarm Lord,
Lord, which meant the Trigon could have come in turn earlier. We said he came on automatically the turn after because we forgot, but him coming on a turn earlier could have been quite pivotal. Because he was one of your most powerful models, wasn't he? He came in just like 12 shots.
He's actually really good. I mean, I'm still learning all the abilities, but that was really good. I was really impressed with that. I also liked, obviously, finally got the Swarm Lord in combat, and he was really dirty
He was
as well.
really good. He's expensive, but he's really powerful.
Steve was okay. I mean, I didn't really get to use him full effect.
No. Angraf shouldn't have instability, damn it. Lesson learned, never stick him in combat with other things.
Have a mushy game.
Yeah.
Because he shouldn't have died on his own, he'd have been fine.
Yeah, I forgot. And it was funny, just before that, I was saying to you, no, don't send them in, just let them one-on-one. Yeah.
I did that too when I realised I was like, attack Angraf, Jason, you know you want to. But you were very stoic, you were like, no, I'm killing those bastards.
Dee's here as well, so what did you think, Dee? You
It's
just watching?
really aggressive. I'm not a 40k player myself, but really, really aggressive. The fact that the game looked like it was over by the end of their turn 3.
Yeah,
Not
that last turn,
left.
Jason could have easily stole it last turn.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the game, I score 3 points for this one. But if you'd have won this combat here, this guy, if he'd have rolled high on Consolidate, could go over here, steal this one from me because he's
a troop
objective
choice.
secured.
Yeah.
And this guy would have gone over here and scored that one. And so that would have been a 6-point swing in your favour.
Yeah,
which
7
would
with
have
the
been
general as well.
Yeah, 7 with the general.
But because the game went another turn, you would have killed Tyranid Warrior.
That's it.
Yeah.
Just by doing nothing, you would have got
Yeah, this
so
guy
1 or 2.
turning around kills that. Yes, game over at that point.
But
Yeah, it was good. I like it when it goes to the end and you're not sure what's happening. It came down to kind of literally one of the last few die rolls about what was going to happen.
or maybe you should have left the Tyranid Warrior and just come kill this drone that you. No, it was good. Thanks for that,
No, I
Mike.
need that goggle.
Oh man, I'm really gutted I didn't kill that feathered bird bastard.
Look at him. He's one of my oldest models.
So
Ah.
it's so annoying as well because you didn't even buy him for the army. It was just like, I'll
Yeah, I
summon
summoned
this.
him. I liked it at the end where he attacked and did, I think, 2 wounds that was needed to your Trigon Prime. And you picked up your dice for a saving throw, and I was like, you don't get a save. And you were like, what do you mean? I'm like, he's a monstrous creature. And you're like, what?
Yeah, monstrous creature. He could sit on my shoulder like a pet budgie.
AP2 then claws.
I was a little disappointed in the Harpy. I didn't really figure the Harpy was that good. I mean, only one.
Not hugely good versus my army, I don't think.
I didn't.
It's
I
only
didn't
good versus vehicles.
yeah, but even still, I mean, I only did a wound to that,
Yeah.
and then it failed the second time. Failed to wound the cannon, and then it got killed by that freaking pigeon.
Yep. Pigeon was good. He well made up his points
Yeah.
because it only cost the cost of a herald.
I hate him.
And this herald that I summoned earlier on as well, he was really useful. He scored this objective for a couple of turns,
Yeah.
which when you look at the victory points, actually quite pivotal.
Oh, it was good. I'm glad we played that. That was good fun.
Yep. Yeah, I'm glad to get Angraf out for a quick run. He doesn't come out often, being best of 1,000 points.
Yeah, and I got to use Steve as well.
Yep.
Well-
I think mine has a cooler name than yours. He's called Steve.
All right. Thanks for watching, guys,
Thanks,
and
guys.
we'll play something else soon.